Your direct deposit didn't go through again, I muttered to Kyle from accounting, already knowing the answer before hitting send. Payroll error number 47 this quarter. It was always Kyle, and it was always me fixing it. Every office has someone like me. The quiet mop crew for bureaucratic sludge. I was the compliance woman. HR's human Advil. Payroll's duct tape. My name's Elaine Mercer. For 18 years, I was the reason this whole circus didn't collapse under its own incompetence. Contractors classified properly? That was me. Overtime logged and compliant? Me again. Annual labor report submitted on time? Yeah, that was me too. With a cup of burnt office coffee and a migraine for garnish. I didn't go to the birthday cupcakes in the break room. Didn't join happy hours. But when someone's 1099 vanished or their FSA enrollment glitched, I was the ghost in the system who made it all go away. No applause. Just another Slack ping ending with, "Thanks, Elaine. You're a lifesaver," like I hadn't just single-handedly saved the company from another compliance audit disaster. On paper, my title was Operations Specialist Level 2. That Level 2 was supposed to be a promotion after my 5th year. No raise came with it. Just more duties and the honor of mentoring a 23-year-old intern who once asked if a W-2 was the one with dental benefits. My office? A windowless tomb between the janitor's closet and a microwave that always smelled like stale popcorn and broken dreams. But it was mine. I had a ficus named Clara and a filing system that could outmatch NASA's mission archives. I didn't need a corner suite. I had state labor codes, payroll memos, and the knowledge that if anyone ever pulled back the curtain, I was the one making the machine run. Then came the meeting. No warning. Just a vague Outlook invite. Quick sync, HR and Ops. The kind of subject line that smells like death in neutral tones. I walked in to find Lacey from HR already seated, her lips pressed tight like she was trying not to let a secret escape. "Elaine," she said, all artificial brightness. "Thank you so much for coming." Ah, that kind of meeting. "We've been undergoing some strategic restructuring," she started, reading from a printout like a hostage trying to sound optimistic. "And unfortunately, your position has been deemed redundant." I blinked, slowly. "Redundant," I repeated, like I'd never heard the word in English before. "We truly believe this will be a positive pivot for you," she chirped, sounding like someone giving a eulogy for a goldfish. "You'll land on your feet, and of course, we're doing you a favor by offering a modest severance package." I didn't throw the stapler, didn't yell. I didn't even flinch. But the moment she said favor, something in me clicked. See, when someone frames your termination as a gift, what they're really doing is gaslighting you, politely. And when your job has been tracking every comma of labor law compliance for almost 2 decades, let's just say I don't take favors lightly. I smiled. Cool. Professional. The same expression I wore while fixing Kyle's broken payroll script for the 3rd time that month. But inside, a storm was rising. A storm made of 7 years' worth of spreadsheets, documentation trails, and one very well-written contact at the Ohio Department of Labor. The HR conference room buzzed with fluorescent lights that sounded like dying insects. There were no chairs on my side of the table, just Lacey and her shiny new intern, perched like corporate vultures in ergonomic thrones. Between us sat a box of tissues. I wasn't sure if it was meant as a peace offering or a dare. "Elaine," Lacey began again, folding her hands like a kindergarten teacher breaking the news about a dead class hamster. "You've been such a valuable part of the team over the years. Over the years." The phrase hit like a dull dart dipped in cheap wine. She kept going. "This isn't personal. It's about efficiency, optimization. We're doing you a favor," she repeated, slower this time, like the word would sparkle if she just enunciated it enough. "You'll have the chance to explore new opportunities," she chirped. "I've seen your work. You'll land on your feet." Land on my feet? Lady, I've been holding your feet out of legal hellfires since the Bush administration. I didn't ask about Cobra. Didn't ask about severance. Didn't ask why Kyle from accounting, who once tried to write off his Vegas wedding as a vendor summit, still had a job. I just nodded and said, "Understood." Not a passive-aggressive understood, the kind that should come with a legal disclaimer. The intern beamed, probably thinking she just witnessed some girl boss moment of grace. She handed me a manila folder, exit packet, cheap paper, probably stolen from the clearance rack at Staples, and that was it. No security escort, no cake, not even a sarcastic clap from marketing. I walked back to my desk, unplugged Clara the ficus's LED lamp, tucked her under my arm. No cardboard box, no final look. Just me, Clara, and 18 years of uncelebrated compliance walking out the door. The next day, the email came. Subject: Thank you again. Final HR summary. That damn smiley face. That was the twist of the knife. The body was generic to the point of being sociopathic. Paragraphs of legal gibberish dressed up as kindness. Bullet points with the energy of a workplace sympathy card. And at the bottom, please take this time to rest, reflect, and refocus. Rest? Reflect? Lady, I'm the reason your entire contractor roster hasn't turned your office into a class action lawsuit waiting to happen. I'm the one who fixed the exempt-non-exempt matrix that once had your executive assistant listed as seasonal help. And now you want me to rest? No mention of transition support. No phone number. Just a third-party survey link probably routed to a black hole labeled feedback we'll never read. Buried in paragraph 4 was the line that made my eyebrow twitch. Due to Elaine's exempt status, no additional compensation for accrued overtime is necessary under company policy. Oh, honey, the thing about firing your in-house compliance ghost is this. She knows where all the bodies are buried, and more importantly, she knows what qualifies as unclaimed wages under Ohio Revised Code, and what constitutes misclassification based on job duty, pay structure, and operational blending. Guess who wrote the training decks on it? I clicked reply, typed 4 simple words. Thank you for the clarification. Then, like a chef adding the final seasoning to a roast, I added one more line. CC, Ohio Department of Labor, Wage and Hour Division. No rant, no drama, just the kind of bureaucratic whisper that makes government agents sit up like bloodhounds sniffing a misfiled tax form. I didn't click send right away. I sipped my burnt coffee, looked over at Clara. You ready, girl? I whispered, and then I sent it. My email wasn't emotional. It wasn't accusatory. It was phrased with surgical neutrality, a model of professional detachment wrapped in precise labor code references, the kind of message that makes regulators perk up and HR departments sweat through their polyester. At 9:52 a.m., I received a reply from the Department of Labor's intake system. Your inquiry has been received. A representative may contact you for clarification regarding employer policy and classification practices. Short, dry, perfect. I knew what it meant. Somewhere in a mid-tier government building in Columbus, a case file with my name on it was now labeled Pending Review. A few seconds later, I got a read receipt. 9:53 a.m. Lacey opened your email. That's the thing about professional courtesy. It leaves a paper trail thick enough to choke a mediocre HR department. I pictured her at her desk, green juice in one hand, blinking at my message, wondering if this was a threat or just a very well-formatted red flag. By 10:06 a.m., the first hairline crack appeared. A forwarded email landed in my inbox. Someone hit reply all by mistake. Classic rookie error. From Lacey Monroe to Dennis Capshaw. Subject, legal. Urgent. Can we confirm whether she's eligible for overtime recapture under exempt classification? Also, Why would she CC the labor board? Oh, Lacey, if you have to ask that in writing, you're already on fire. I didn't respond. Of course not. You don't interrupt a corporate meltdown in progress. At 10:31, a new message appeared. Not to me directly, but I had been BCC'd. Anonymous. Probably someone I helped once. Maybe the marketing assistant whose 401k enrollment was stuck in limbo for 6 weeks until I intervened. Loyalty comes in weird flavors. The forwarded chain now included Dennis from legal and a wider group from compliance and finance. Please review Elaine M's inquiry, Dennis wrote. She appears to have flagged potential classification discrepancies. If the department follows up, we may be required to produce 7 years of audit documentation. There it was, the 7-year trigger. Within 15 minutes, the CFO was looped in. Just for visibility, of course. But in HR land, CCing the CFO is the equivalent of lighting a flare gun in a fireworks factory. Ben Whitaker, CFO of Darnell Biotech. The same man who once told me in a budget review that compliance is important, just not sexy. He didn't reply. Of course not. Executives like Ben don't respond. They summon. But I could feel the shift from my kitchen table, like barometric pressure before a storm. Lacey was probably whispering under her breath, pulling her laptop closer like it could shield her. The intern beside her, likely offering a half-steeped mug of chamomile tea and half-baked advice. By lunchtime, the panic had evolved into corporate kabuki theater. A company-wide email went out. Subject, reminder, external communications policy. As a best practice, all employment-related communications should remain internal. Outreach to external entities may result in misinterpretation of company policy and unintended consequences. Translation: don't be like Elaine. But here's the kicker. I hadn't filed a complaint. I hadn't blown any whistle. I had simply asked a question. I had used their language, in their tone, under their rules. And they knew it. They weren't scared because I broke the rules. They were scared because I followed them better than they did. And they were about to discover what happens when the person they labeled redundant turns out to be the linchpin holding their legal compliance together. The dominoes were wobbling now, not falling yet, but trembling under the weight of too many buried shortcuts and forgotten obligations. I refreshed my inbox every 10 minutes. Not out of nerves, please. I've faced audits with nothing but a black pen and bad coffee. This was curiosity, pure and simple, like watching a weather system build on radar. You already know the storm's coming. You just want to see how fast the sky turns. By 3:20 p.m., it hit. A message from finance to payroll marked urgent. Subject: Contractor Archive Audit. Start date: 2016. That's the problem with 7 years of skeletons. Once you open the closet, they all tumble out wearing name badges and carrying unlabeled flash drives. By the next morning, it wasn't whispers anymore. It was a cold front moving through every hallway and Slack channel. I wasn't even there officially, but my inbox was still alive, just off the grid. Friends pinged me from personal emails with cryptic subject lines. Did you start this? Payroll's panicking. Wait, what did you do? One message had a blurry photo of a whiteboard in conference room C. In red expo marker. Payroll audit prep. Immediate. It looked like a murder scene clue. According to Carla from Ops, one of the few people who always listened during compliance reviews. Finance had been ordered to pull every single overtime log dating back to the Obama era. Not suggested. Not advised. Ordered. Meanwhile, someone in legal had started mumbling about gray area thresholds and uninsurable exposure. Rumor had it Kyle from accounting, the same Kyle who once tagged a strip club bill as client engagement on a quarterly report, had his third breakdown of the day. At one point, he reportedly screamed, "What even is a 189B2 modifier?" before being led to the break room with a juice box. I was at home, in my robe, sipping microwaved coffee like a suburban pyromaniac watching the house across the street burn. No posts, no emails, no responses. Just me and the sound of other people lighting their own fires. Then came HR's next move. You could smell the panic sweat baked into every word. Subject: friendly reminder. Confidentiality policy. Oh, it was a gem. As we navigate a period of strategic review, we kindly remind all employees to refrain from discussing internal compliance activities externally or via unofficial channels. Professionalism means protecting your team, even during challenging transitions. Translated: everyone shut up before Elaine's email turns into a subpoena. I imagined Lacey typing it, with 2 junior HR associates standing behind her, debating if it sounded too threatening or not threatening enough. Too late. You can't unwobble dominoes. Carla texted me later. They're auditing manager timesheets, even Ralph. You know he hasn't worked a full Friday since 2014. Ralph, the director of something vague. Loud. Vaguely important. If they were digging into his hours, the claws were out. Best of all, someone had printed out my original email, my quiet little "thank you for the clarification," and taped it inside the HR office door. According to Carla, it was now referred to by staff in hushed tones as the trigger. I didn't say a word, didn't leak anything, didn't escalate. They were doing it all on their own. Every frantic email, every urgent sync, every deleted Slack message only made the target bigger and brighter. The spotlight wasn't mine anymore. I just lit the candle, and now the building was flickering. They'd ignored my emails for years, brushed off my compliance decks, dismissed my warnings as not urgent. But now the whole damn office was clawing through 7 years of digital lint I'd quietly filed, sorted, labeled, and categorized by fiscal quarter. I never raised my voice, never slammed a door. I just hit CC. And at 10:12 a.m., on a quiet Wednesday, the storm officially landed. A formal letter from the Ohio Department of Labor appeared in the company's shared legal inbox. Pursuant to the inquiry received and subsequent documentation provided, our team will be conducting an on-site payroll and classification audit at your facility beginning this Thursday at 9:00 a.m. No threats, no drama, just a 2-page PDF of polite devastation. Within 20 minutes, the CFO had it. 10 minutes after that, his assistant, poor Emily, was seen sprinting down the hallway with a cardboard file box labeled 2017 Payroll Q4, incomplete. Word is, she tripped over someone's ergonomic footrest and still didn't let go of the box. That's how you know someone understands the stakes. Meanwhile, Slack had gone eerily silent. The same people who dropped popcorn gifs and Motivation Monday quotes like confetti? Gone. Vanished. Not even a hey team from marketing. The mood had shifted from corporate hustle to bunker mode. At 1:47 p.m., Carla messaged me again. They're pulling everything, like everything, even old contractor contracts from 2016. People are freaking. What did you do? I typed, just asked for clarification. Then stared at the blinking cursor, backspaced, rewrote, finally hit send. Didn't do anything. They're just answering their own questions now. Because that's the truth. I didn't blow a whistle, didn't hire a lawyer, didn't storm the gates. I sent one email with one CC, and they detonated themselves. By Thursday morning, there were 3 alignment syncs a day. Legal, HR, finance, each group hosting their own private panic summit. The CFO, Ben Whitaker, hadn't been seen in public since the PDF hit. Rumor was he'd shifted his office hours to 7:00 a.m. just to avoid being cornered. Also rumored, he was already contacting external auditors. You know, to get ahead of the situation. Even better? It had been tasked with a new mission. Determine what files Elaine accessed during her final month. As if I'd planted a compliance time bomb, as if I wasn't the one who'd spent 18 years meticulously organizing their files for them. LinkedIn even began to stir. Former coworkers started liking old posts of mine, endorsing skills like regulatory oversight, risk mitigation, and internal controls. It felt like watching people lay roses on a tombstone they suddenly realized was part of their foundation. Then Dylan, from marketing, the one who once called me a spreadsheet sorceress during a trivia game, sent me a DM. Honestly, kinda epic. They underestimated the quiet one. The office is melting. I didn't gloat. Not publicly. Not even in private. I just closed my laptop and brewed another cup of black coffee. Because this wasn't about revenge. It was about precision. They taught me to document, to follow the rules, to cross every T and record every exception. And now the system, the one I upheld for years, was doing what it was built to do, not out of loyalty to me, but because I'd finally asked it to verify itself. It was Friday, 8:03 a.m. sharp, and there it was. A new email in my inbox from Lacey Monroe, the same HR director who had gifted me my severance packet like it was a Starbucks coupon. Subject: quick clarification. Recent communications. That same fake smiling emoji again, as if punctuation could absorb legal fallout. I didn't open it right away. I was watering Clara, my faithful ficus, and alphabetizing my spice rack. I needed to decide if I had the emotional bandwidth to entertain a woman who once told me compliance is just internal PR. At 8:17, my phone buzzed. Blocked number. I let it ring. Twice. Then curiosity, or maybe the thrill of watching a slow-motion corporate car crash, got the better of me. I answered. Silence first, then a syrupy voice. Elaine? Hi, it's Lacey from HR. I hope you're doing well. Sticky sweet, like honey that had started to ferment. I didn't say anything. Let the pause stretch. Let her blink first. Then it came. We just wanted to touch base and, clear up some confusion about your recent email to the labor board. There it was, the mask slipping. She rushed ahead, clearly reading from a panic-prepared script. It seems there might have been a misunderstanding, and we're worried this could be perceived as a formal complaint that might trigger unnecessary escalation. Unnecessary escalation. Like that time I flagged a payroll misclassification and she called it a morale risk. I took a slow sip of coffee, let the silence do the heavy lifting. Then I said, calm as a monk in a thunderstorm, I didn't file a complaint. She stammered. Well, technically, you CC'd. Correct. I interrupted. I CC'd the labor board on a clarification email regarding exempt status policy, using your department's own phrasing. Her voice was thinner now. Well, it's just that the audit is creating stress internally. Some departments feel, I didn't do anything, Lacey. Still calm. Not cold, just steel-cut clarity. If there's stress, it's probably coming from years of misclassification and shoddy documentation. That's not my doing. That's yours. Silence. Longer this time. I imagined her staring at her own policy handbook, wondering where exactly she lost control of the narrative. Spoiler. It was when she underestimated someone who read every word, memorized every clause, and forgot nothing. Lacey cleared her throat. Smaller now. If you're willing to retract the inquiry formally, we'd be happy to revisit your severance package. Perhaps offer outplacement support. Maybe even extend COBRA beyond the minimum requirement. I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I answered plainly. That's generous, but I'm not negotiating. I'm not involved anymore. I just asked a question. Everything else is between you and the state of Ohio now. Click. No anger, no smugness. Just one quiet dial tone and a woman with nothing left to lose, and a hard drive full of archived logs. They had spent years teaching me to stay quiet, to nod, to smooth things over while the boys upstairs made messes I had to clean up. And now they were calling me, begging to clean one last mess. But the thing about storms, they don't negotiate with umbrellas. The announcement came Monday morning, delivered, as always, in corporate speak so sterile it might as well have come shrink-wrapped. Pursuant to the inquiry received and subsequent documentation provided, our team will be conducting an on-site payroll and classification audit at your facility beginning this Thursday at 9:00 a.m. Buried in paragraph 2 like a landmine, 7 years. By 9:07 a.m., my phone lit up. Carla again. They're sending auditors, like actual badge-wearing, clipboard-carrying auditors. I didn't reply. I was busy pouring a glass of cold oat milk into my dark roast. Clara was basking in a patch of morning sun. My recliner, once reserved for sick days, had become my throne. I opened the local news site just to check, half expecting to see smoke rising from the Darnell Biotech campus. Not literal fire, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't burn desks. Just dignity. Inside the building, it was chaos wearing a name badge. The CEO called an emergency leadership huddle, which is corporate code for, esh. Half the executives arrived late, clutching overpriced coffee and recycled excuses. Ben, the CFO, looked like he hadn't slept since the audit notice landed. Emily, his assistant, dragged in a wheeled crate full of old HR binders, one still labeled 2015 inactive in faded Sharpie. Slack channels were renaming themselves like witness protection aliases. Policy review thread, urgent doc dump, internal questions only. Someone whispered that Lacey had been pulled into conference room B by the CEO himself. No witnesses, 10 minutes, blinds closed. She came out pale, mascara smudged, a post-it stuck to her heel. That's when you know it's real in HR. When the eye makeup runs and nobody dares mention it. The scope of the audit was massive. Retroactive overtime, improperly classified contractors, missing I-9s, unapproved remote work logs, even that one intern who quit in 2018 after threatening to report them, never documented. But guess who kept the email chain? Hi, it's me. By Tuesday, leadership calls ran back to back. Lights burned in corner offices well past 9 p.m. Uber Eats bags piled up outside like tributes to a collapsing empire. Someone from payroll reportedly had a panic attack in the bathroom when asked to produce calendar notes from 2016 forward. Meanwhile, I was on my second cup of coffee. No cream, no sugar, just black and smooth, the way you take it when victory doesn't need sweetening. Still no gloating, no posts, not even a smug meme, because this wasn't a vendetta, it was a procedure. I had done nothing but click CC. But that CC had become the heartbeat of a reckoning built from ignored flags, missing forms, and one too many times I was told, "It's not a big deal, Elaine." Turns out, it was. At 6:42 p.m., my phone rang again. Unknown number. I didn't want to answer. I was halfway through folding towels, but something told me this one would be worth it. Elaine? Ben Whitaker. The same CFO who once asked his assistant to summarize my 30-page compliance memo into 3 bullets and a vibe. His voice cracked, soft, tired. I just got word from the labor board. It's a full audit, 7 years, everything. Pause, then the kicker. Why did I just get a notice of a full payroll audit going back 7 years? I didn't raise my voice, didn't gloat, didn't even sigh. I simply said, I sent the records for clarification. There it was. The 4 words that undid everything. The silence on the other end wasn't quiet. It was heavy. The kind that falls in boardrooms before heads roll. He tried to warn me. You understand this could impact operations, back pay, penalties, our investors. I cut him off. I'm not involved anymore. I didn't file a complaint. I just copied a regulator on a clarification request, using the language your HR department wrote. I'm sure your legal team can handle it. Click. No threat, no drama. Just a tap. Soft. Final. Then I poured a glass of wine, opened YouTube, clicked on a Danny DeVito ASMR video, and smiled. The kind of smile HR can't policy its way out of.